AskReddit by Brage 2004 Norway. You get teleported to the day you were born with all the memories from your past life, but you're now an infant. What do you do? Deleted. So would I, knowing what is to come. Probably have some form of internal crisis. Deleted. Knowing me, forget it all. That'd be sad. Start talking and people would absolutely freak the fuck out. I think with the body of an infant, it would be very hard to speak. You could think and get a giant head start, even plan your first words, but it'd take a couple days at least. Honestly, I would spend most of my time feeling very awkward about breastfeeding and crapping my diaper. Not sure I would want to go there. Potty training should be a pretty quick process at least. The first words out of my mouth won't be mama or dada. There'll be one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them. Just grab your mom's ring and say my precious. Deleted. Yeah, you'd basically just be sitting there ruminating on all the embarrassing shit you did in your past life, which is basically all I do now, but you would have to do it between shitting your pants and crying. Plus, nobody would let you get stoned to escape. Pass. Encourage my parents to get divorced much sooner. It's hard to imagine that conversation. Just flip everyone off. Even my mom. They won't suspect a thing and it'll come off as cute. Fuck you. And fuck you. I've been preparing for this scenario a long time. Me too. It's fascinating. Feel like an idiot for not remembering any huge lottery winning numbers. But you remember that Bitcoin exists. Same. Invest money, so I can do fun stuff from age 30. Do better in school. Make sure I still meet my wife. Oh, that's stress. Meeting your wife, that'd be tough. Interestingly enough, this is the idea behind one of the characters in Jonathan Hickman's X-Men series currently. Moira McTaggart has the mutant ability of reincarnation when she dies, but she is born into the same life with the same parents and time frame but with all of the knowledge of her past lives. It's very interesting, probably my favorite comic book run in a long time. Sounds a lot like the first 15 Lives of Harry August, by Claire North. Basically the exact same premise, without the mutant part. Millionaire % speedrun. Apple, Google, Amazon, YouTube, Tesla, etc. Pretty sure time travel would be the most lucrative business ever. Ed, to the 50th plus person, bitcoins would be packed to the etc. Shit, I'd have to wait 30 years to hear these election results. I would tell people not to tell Trump jokes at that press corp dinner. I would have a really hard time breastfeeding from my mom. Stop shitting and pissing my pants, cause having my mom or dad clean my Johnson and ass is also pretty fucking weird. Figure out how to talk as soon as possible so I can warn my parents about the hip dysplasia the doctors missed in all of my baby checkups and make sure they do something about it before I start walking and my femur starts sinking into my own body, which is what actually happened. MMO. Wow, he says his first words. Mother, go to the doctor and let him check if I have hip dysplasia. Struggle to retain the memories in the context of not even knowing how to control my limbs or focus my eyes. By the time I'm one, they're all gone. This actually is how everybody's life begins. Pee on my dad. That's funny because when I was born, as soon as I was released I peed everywhere on the hospital bed. The only time in life I asserted dominance, I guess. I will write a book about the events that will take place and I will make money on it. Or I will be put in a madhouse. Or end up in some CIA facility. I'd save my mom from cancer, or at least tell her when she roughly would get it. They didn't catch it until stage 4 and it was too late. I'd use all the money I got from investing in sports bets to treat her and buy her a house. Hopefully make her a grandma. She would have been the best grandma. You're a good man. I'm sure there's a point every once in a while where I'll be thinking everybody talks to me like I'm an idiot. Come out the womb not crying, eyes fully opened, with the most serious face I can make as a baby, then say this human form is limiting. Get my family to invest in Apple and Amazon, and buy a bunch of Bitcoin. Also, become a world famous oracle by being a child who predicts 9/11, and save Harambe. Save Harambe, but only predict 9/11? No one's mentioned it yet, but exercise and coordination training would probably be highest on my list. The younger you are, the quicker your body repairs and gets stronger, faster, and more agile with much less pain than you feel now after training. The only reason you didn't do it back then was self-control and the drive to do it. Yoga, gymnastics, martial arts, all can be done while you think and remember what you can, and with better hand-eye coordination comes writing and typing, which you will need for online bank transfers for empire building. I wish I'd started training when I was 2 instead of 22. I'd see it exclusively as a second chance, as a do-over. A way to not fuck up the things I fucked up and not hurt the people I've hurt. Maybe start getting into my interests from a younger age when my brain is still working like a child's and absorbs knowledge like a sponge. Seriously, I wouldn't even try to exploit my knowledge of the future to make money or achieve world domination or help the Sixers get a championship by telling them whom to draft. That seems like hubris. I already have more than enough regrets to keep me occupied without needing to fly too close to the Sunday. TLDR, a second playthrough where you know how to avoid the newbie traps. More or less the same here. Freak out that I'd ruin the timeline and never meet my partner or have my daughter. Same honestly. It would be neat and all to make investments, do better in school, get an earlier start on my career, etc. But for all intents and purposes I'm very happy now, and all of the circumstances that lead to this may not happen with some prior knowledge of what's to come. I'd know all of these things about my girlfriend, but she'd have to learn who I am all over again. You can't fake that bond. Would it come about as organically? I think it almost certainly wouldn't. It may ruin things, in fact, and that's if I even actually met her. Overall, this fantasy of some people's has always been more terrifying to me than thrilling. Kick ass at life and do more of what I want to do rather than trying to find myself. Sit there fucking depressed. Deleted. Be extremely frustrated. Also make my parents invest in Bitcoin. Edited for punctuation. Why is this my most liked comment? I'm shocked it wasn't any weird sex stuff. That's what everyone wish they did, I see, from other posts. After my dad's appendicitis operation, I'll beg him non-stop to get a follow-up so the doctors can spot the cancer sooner and he can live to see his grandkids grow up. I'll start writing my stories sooner. I'll draw more and more. I'll cut my estranged aunt out of my life sooner. I'll make more friends. I'll get my first job sooner. I'll learn a second language while my brain is still developing. I'll learn martial arts and take better care of my body. Geez. I'm only 19 and I already have so many regrets. Make sure my first words to my mother are I am the oracle, I am here to make sure you don't fuck up your life. Then proceed to make sure she does not end up in jail, then probably try to stay healthier. Buy Amazon, Apple, Bitcoin, AMD. I can see that happening. I would probably be born with the most shocked face a newborn could muster, but when I finally get the ability to laugh and smile, I'd be the jolliest baby. This would be the best gift ever, and I'm sure as heck not going to waste my second chance in righting my wrongs. Of course it would be a long wait until I was cognitively strong enough to process all my memories and act on them. First thing I would do when I got to school age was mingle more with my friends, focus on sports and extracurriculars which I regret not prioritizing, and convince my parents to enroll me in violin, piano, and voice lessons. I'm going to make myself into some wonder child and finally use the talents I wasted from being too shy. Tie the umbilical cord to each of the bars of the hospital bed and fling myself like a angry bird. LMAO. Be a child genius. I would make my dad buy like 50 bitcoins in 2011 and boom, we are rich. I would also predict forex markets and make a shitton of money. Safe to say I'd be a billionaire before 10. Stonks. Triple dive out of my window when I get the chance. Edit. I like how one of my most popular comments is suicidal. Oof. Spend a couple years being very frustrated that I know all this stuff but can't communicate it because I'm a damn baby. I'd say predict the future, then start charging people money for their predictions. It doesn't even matter if I'm wrong, as long as I predicted a couple major things right, people will flock to me. And if I get called out for being wrong, just start being more vague, so it's easier to explain. Then one day, after all the fame and fortune, when I'm really old, I'll go up to the President of America and say, I don't have much time, but I need to tell you something. They are all gonna try kill you and run away. Then, I'll watch as the entire world burns, only for me to die and be reborn, thus repeating the never-ending cycle of destroying the world. Or, ick now, just make some better life choices. What an absolute madlad. The poor guy would get a heart attack from that info immediately. Live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? I really don't want to go through all that again. Go gaga bitches. I won't let anyone to disrespect, bully or do anything to me since the very beginning. Nobody calls me chicken. First 15 Lives of Harry August. A well-written book on this premise, where there is a whole community of people who realize that they keep getting reborn into the same circumstances over and over. Invest in Apple and Bitcoins and hope somehow that doesn't change the future. Cry a lot, maybe that's why that happens. I remember as a kid I has a theory that when kids are born, they are reincarnated old people, who remember everything when they were born, but their bodies keep them from showcasing it. By the time they can say words, they would have forgotten everything. Become a child genius and predict the future for money. For example, I could bet millions on a famous horse I knew was going to win a race. Bam, millionaire child. If you sit down right now and think really hard, how many famous horse racing results can you actually remember? Shit my pants. Wait a minute. This would mean you will start off from your first day of life with all the mental disorders you've developed in your past life, right? So like, I'm still the traumatized mess from the things I remember, but I have no way of accessing any kind of care until I'm old enough to convince my parents, if they listen, and then explain the situation to the psych. Move the fuck out as soon as I'm able, since now I know what emotional abuse looks like. I would never let myself feel inferior to other kids. That shaped a lot of who I became.